The answer to Arsenal's current problems is not buying a striker. Now, don't get mad and let me explain. Arsenal's recent losses have been down to a lot of poor things, and one of the main things has been poor finishing. And there has been an overarching narrative that Arteta's team lack a clinical goal scorer, which I'm not disputing. But the rational answer that right now is they probably don't need an elite goal scorer, and here is why. Now, I know this is going to upset a lot of people, but it's fine. Just let's not go into meltdown. Arsenal have been poor the last recent games, but it's only a few games. In the last 4 games, Arsenal have created chances worthy of 5 non-penalty goals, and they've only scored twice. And this is obviously frustrating, losing games, even though you're creating quite a lot of chances to be able to score. And there's definitely been down to certain things. There's been a bit of bad luck, some bad shooting, and some specific moments where the goalkeepers done brilliant saves. And this altogether does compound these stats. But to think that just delving into the transfer market and overpaying for someone that's in their prime won't fix the issue, and it won't make Arsenal better in the future or give them any chance of winning any trophies. The main thing about goal scoring, which has been shown in previous analysis, is that getting chances is more important indicator than actually having a team or a player's finishing ability. Now, if you're creating a lot of chances per game and not scoring, that is usually tend to not happen very often, and it will come back around where you will get the goals you deserve. If a player or a team overperforms their goals expected by too much, then it's not expected to be that level again. This is something Arsenal actually did a lot under Unai Emery, and in the end, obviously, it fell apart because the goals dried up when they deserved to. Chance creation is also a big thing for other players. Erling Haaland does not score all his goals that people say a lot of tap-ins from just being a break player and just scoring instant goals. They're mostly because the team build up and give him the chances, and he often half the time can't even miss from when he scores. This comes down to the creation of chances in the team. Now, I'm not going to act like everything's okay with Arsenal. It's definitely not. They are in a slump. This is some of the worst team performances I've seen in the last few years. Even though some games have been playing alright in Arteta's eyes, I still think there is a lot of issues. Now, I know Arsenal have quality players they would expect to overperform XG, and often they have done. Only the last 4 games is the first time in the last 2.5 years that Arsenal have really been underperforming XG. If you look at the statistics from this season and last year, they highly overperformed. Obviously, last year they performed way higher than they did this year, and that was never going to be sustainable. But this year, they've still overperformed XG in most of their games. They've been very clinical. And this is still with every single player in that front line having points this season where they have struggled. Saka and Odegaard have really struggled at times, and Martinelli and Jesus haven't been playing well recently, and it's definitely been a factor. That's why Nketiah is the top Premier League goal scorer for them, and he's barely ever started. Now, I've made a few statements saying that I think Arsenal was still very good against Liverpool, and some people are saying I'm deluded. Well, I'm going to say this to you. You are dumb. If you don't think we're playing well recently, then that's on you. Other than the Fulham game against West Ham and Liverpool, we were vastly the better team and got very unlucky. Okay, yes, there is definitely problems with putting the ball in the back of the net, but there are very positive factors in the team where you're still playing like an elite side, and there's still a sustainable amount of goals there for the future. For instance, Arsenal, out of possession, are one of the best teams in Europe. They're so good at winning the ball back and getting in positions to make it harder for the other team to get forward. Against Liverpool really struggled, especially in the first half, to even get the ball up the pitch in a meaningful manner. And often this season has been the reason why Arsenal have kept the ball out of their own net very much times. And the only reason why it's been struggling recently is because they've still been keeping the ball and doing very well. But when the team gets more frustrated, they're more going up making rash decisions forward. This is leaving some decisions at the back to be open, and Arsenal are getting broke on, which is causing them to concede poor goals, despite obviously the other teams being a lot clinical. In the Premier League this season, only Brighton have averaged more than Arsenal's 1.3 shot ending possessions won in the attacking third per game. This means the pressing from the front line has been very good, and Arsenal are able to win the ball very high up the pitch, mostly in the attacking third, which leads to them having around 1.3 shots per game from this position. I mean, we saw this in full effect against Liverpool. They baited Liverpool onto that left side and got them in a trap, and you'd see Saka and Odegaard activate to try and get the ball to Havertz to win the ball, and they did this 5 times in the first half, winning the ball very high up the pitch. Obviously, it didn't take them chances though, but it does show that Arsenal are still very aggressive without the ball, and they're still doing very well to win it, creating chances. But the tactics are still doing very well, and these coordinated press show that the game is open for Arsenal, and they really should be taking these chances. But on another day, Martin Odegaard sticks that away and doesn't miss that chance that he hit the bar on, probably should be scoring. There's also other bits in that first half where they won the ball. Declan Rice won the ball early in the first half and got the ball high up the pitch. Odegaard broke forward and tried to give the ball to Havertz. Havertz in the end did get it and didn't do a very good effort, but this was more because the pass by Odegaard wasn't exactly very good, and it created a chance for the Liverpool players to get back in defence. A better pass is not nothing to do with the striker. A striker does not fix that pass being better and would still have a lot to do from that rate. And all over the pitch, tiny details are crucial in determining the outcome and the game, but Arsenal are creating high quality situations from this approach that requires high football intelligence from their forward and is arguably more difficult and sustainable than having a single clinical striker who contributes little more than shots. This is why buying a striker in January is not the answer to these questions, because if someone comes in, they've got to get familiar with this pressing style, which is very hard to get in. And although there might be a better finisher than Havertz, like someone like Eddie Nketiah is, he doesn't know how to press and often stays away from the ball, not being approached. This can only be effective for Arsenal when they're consistently getting in behind on teams, but how teams defend against them, it's not happening, and Arsenal are simply, their wingers are not getting in behind as much as they would want. This means there's no point of having a big striker in there, or any sort of striker that's going to wait for the ball and be clinical. That's why Eddie should be nowhere near the team right now, because Arsenal will not be able to get him into good opportunities to score. And although if Arsenal had scored one of these early chances, then I think they would have easily won the game. They had a lot of control and had the ball for most of it, but in the end they had to go forward and they got counter-attacked at the end from that free kick and the late goal, because Liverpool had the oppression and had the ball and had the goal that they needed to stay in the game, where Arsenal had to go and chase it. An elite goal scorer number 9 would obviously help Arsenal's finishing, and he may score a lot of goals individually, but I'm not sure if it would help the team as a whole is what they need. Also, it's not best to get one mid-season right now, as there's not many good options. I mean, Vlahovic and Tony aren't really the men that they need. They need to be looking to the summer and looking at elite options like Evan Ferguson to try and help them get on their way, and they need someone to develop with the team, not being too old than the age range they look for. And something that might be more beneficial for Arsenal is the fact they need to get a bit more speed in their attack. Last year they were one of the fastest teams, and that's why they were so good at being able to get in the ball and scoring. This really helped players like Martinelli getting behind, because he's a very quick player and very alert. This season, because they've had more control, they've actually not been going up the pitch quick enough, and sometimes this has led to attacks breaking down too late because they don't know what to do and the other teams get back. They need to be much quicker and get back on the ball and give the ball to Odegaard in better positions. Odegaard or Jesus needs to be moved deeper into midfield while Havertz plays up front, and people like Saka need to have less time on the ball and be ready to get the ball into the box right quickly, with Havertz being in there ready. I think after the Liverpool performance, I think it was very impressive for winning the ball back, and I think that double pivot of Jorginho and Rice has to stay again, with Havertz being up front maybe. And Arsenal's defence are defending well, but they're conceding from all the nearly shots that they have, and they need to sort this out. They need to get better from set pieces and be more physical in the area, because they're sometimes giving away stupid goals from corners or free kicks. Overall, at the elite level, margins are so tight. One bad week can flip a whole season, and Arsenal have had a few bad weeks in a row and are now out of the FA Cup. But however, these other teams are in other competitions, and they definitely have a chance of doing something in the league. And Arsenal is still playing at a point where what they are doing this season is more sustainable than a lot of the teams around them. They keep the ball more, they keep pressure a lot more, and a lot of teams won't score every chance they have against them. In the last 10 shots against them, they've conceded 6, and in their last 50 shots, they've scored 1. In all of football, this wouldn't happen, let alone the quality Arsenal have. So I give Arsenal fans patience and time to just get this to work, and they should buy players in this January window if you can. Maybe get a left back or a midfielder, because they are definitely the priority of keeping the ball a lot more than they have, other than scoring, because they will come eventually, I promise you. Arsenal should look to get a striker in the summer where they can offload Eddie for some money and get a good player, not rush and get someone now who's not worth it. In the long term, we'll see what happens to their title hopes and see what the chances happen. If you like this video, please like and subscribe, and if you want to watch any more other content, please go and watch it on screen now. And thank you for watching, and let me know what you guys think. Arsenal will be back, I promise you.